The night before our wedding, while I was enjoying the excitement of starting a new life, I was hit with a horrifying truth. Love, trust, everything I believed in shattered in an instant. Before continuing the story, tell me which city you're watching from. I want to know how far this video has come. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so I can send you exciting stories like this every day. I'm Ethan, 27 male. My ex-girlfriend, Sophia, 25-year-old female, and I were so much in love. Or should I say, I was so much in love with her, and I never believed she would break my trust and cheat on me like she did. When Sophia and I first met, she was freshly out of college, and I was already working with a fast-growing tech company. For me, it was love at first sight, and there was something about her that I could not place my fingers on. I met her at my friend's sister's birthday party. Sophia and my friend's sister were college friends. She must have noticed I was checking her out at the party because she kept looking in my direction. After a lot of internal struggle, I approached her. I wasn't as chubby now. I just had a noticeable weight which runs in my family, and I had been that way since childhood. In the past, many girls had turned me down, laughed in my face because I tried hitting on them, and I wasn't expecting anything different with Sophia. She was gorgeous, and I expected her to either snub me or pretend like I didn't exist. But she was different. She spoke to me politely, and we talked for the rest of the night and had such a great time. It was my first time feeling that good and confident in a long time. And because we clicked so well, we exchanged contacts, and I gave her a call as soon as I got home. From there, we started seeing each other often, went on lunch dates, and our friendship grew as time passed. I found Sophia to be different from other girls of her age. She was kind, witty, and intelligent, I figured, from the first night we talked. I wasn't just attracted to Sophia because of her beauty. What attracted me most to Sophia was her intelligence and sense of humor. Not so many girls had given me the opportunity to go on multiple dates with them, but Sophia was generous to give me a shot. I was always attracted to intelligent people. I didn't like being around people with no life goals, vision, or future plans. And Sophia was all of it. She was just out of college, actively scavenging the job openings, rushing for the marathon of interviews and whatnot. I loved to see how serious she was about her career. I never had a real relationship apart from one in high school. Not because I couldn't keep one, but because the girls wanted something more than a nerdy boy's love, which I didn't have. So meeting and dating a girl like Sophia felt like a win for me. It was months since she had graduated, and she had no luck in the job hunting game. She had left the college dorm and shifted with her friend. But it was becoming difficult for her to survive. Her parents were not well off to support her post-graduation. They had made it clear to her that she needed to care for herself after graduation. The friend, which Sophia Hume lived, was very clumsy and would often have a boyfriend at the house. Since it was a one-bedroom flat, it became difficult for Sophia to live in that house. Sophia said living at a friend's place was taking its toll on her mental health. So I asked her to take a break for a while and move in with me. Although I was just starting my career in tech, the pay was good. I earned enough to care for both of us without her contribution. We lived in a spacious one-bedroom apartment, and I single-handedly took care of rent, paid the bills, and took care of groceries. I never complained because I loved her and didn't see a big deal in spending some extra bucks on her. Blind love, yeah. Throughout our relationship, everything went on smoothly, and we barely had any major fights. Sophia managed the house, did the dishes and laundry, went grocery shopping, and took care of my bed needs. She was so great in bed, and I enjoyed every bit of the moment with her. Before Sophia and I started dating, she told me about her ex-boyfriend in college and how he maltreated her. I assured her I was a gentleman, and I kept my promise. In the past, I had never had issues controlling my anger, and I never laid my hands on anybody or a woman. So she was safe with me, believe it or not. I had never cheated in the past, and I didn't plan on cheating on her. Also, my work was 60% remote and 40% on site. So I shoveled our house and the office, and this allowed us to spend enough time together. To show how transparent I was with her, I even came up with the rules of telling each other wherever we went, who we were with, and what we were doing whenever we were out. I did this to show her I meant serious business with her and that I had nothing to hide. As our relationship progressed, we introduced each other to our parents. And in no time, we knew all of each other's friends, mainly those close to us. I didn't have a best friend, but Sophia had. Her name was Olivia, and she used to hang out with Sophia all the time. She also visited the house regularly, and we were almost like family. Olivia and Sophia were roommates back at college. Unlike Sophia, Olivia worked as a retail store manager at a popular store in our city and lived with her two sisters who were also working women. As for Olivia, Sophia was able to crack the job for the same supermarket, but Sophia declined the offer because she wanted a corporate job. I guess she became very comfortable with me providing for her, although I didn't say this to her. Olivia would often tease her and call her spoiled. Sophia claimed she had worked hard, juggling many part-time jobs as a teenager and while in college, so she deserved to be relaxed and cared for. On my end, I was happy to give her that break. I didn't have any issues with taking care of Sophia. In fact, I was glad I could provide and take care of my woman. One evening while we were at a fancy restaurant to celebrate my promotion, Sophia suddenly asked, "What do you say we get married?" I stuttered. I was taken aback for a moment, but it didn't totally come as a surprise. I had been thinking of settling down with her, but I still had a lot of things under consideration. So I told her we would be married when the time was right, and she smiled. To be honest, I wanted Sophia to start her career before we took our relationship to the next level. I always wanted to get married and have a family. After Sophia came into my life, I've always imagined my life with her. I had even bought the ring to propose to her, but was waiting for her to get her career straightened, but somehow she found the ring in my closet, and before she could make any assumptions, I had to make an early proposal. The first time Sophia broke the news to her best friend, Olivia, she looked more shocked than happy. Not the kind of shock that her best friend was getting married, but the shock that her best friend was getting married to me. I expected more excitement from her, especially since she would be as Sophia's maid of honor. But the excitement did not come. Her response was, "Are you being serious?" Olivia then tossed her purse on the floor and held Sophia's ring. Then she looked up at me and forced a smile. Trust me, I had been around them for a very long time, and I could tell when her smile was forced and when it was genuine. Although I didn't mention it to Sophia, I felt Olivia was not happy for her friend. In the past, I noticed Olivia was always awfully nice to me. Once, we three were hanging out in our apartment. While Sophia went inside the kitchen to prepare some quick snacks, Olivia hinted to me that Sophia was not who I thought she was. I understood what she meant, but I played dumb. I asked her what did she mean. Olivia said that I would figure it out eventually. She was drunk. Besides, she did not pass a direct message, and I could not conclude based on that. In no time, we started planning our wedding. Sophia wanted a big fat wedding, the kind she could invite all her friends, family, and frenemies, but that was not what I wanted. First, it was significantly about my budget since she would not be contributing a penny to it. Secondly, I believed there was life after the wedding. I loved kids, and I wanted us to have a child almost immediately, and that meant we'd need to rent a bigger apartment and take care of other things. Although Sophia had all the reasons to want a big wedding, I still kicked against it. She mentioned something about having the perfect expensive wedding, but we both knew it was impossible. Surprisingly, Sophia got a job a couple of months before our wedding. I told her I could not afford to buy the brand of wedding gown she needed and pay for her bridesmaids' dresses. So she figured it was better to get a mom and handle most of her bills instead of bugging me. Her wise decision impressed me, and I hoped she would keep up with her career after we married. Also, I expected she would contribute to our wedding plans with her new job in the picture, but she didn't. Everything she earned was channeled to her gown, shoes, accessories, and everything her bridesmaids needed. So I ended up paying for the wedding venue, hall, cakes, and almost everything on my own. 2 weeks before our wedding, I noticed that Olivia began to text me more and more. She'd text me in the morning to ask if I slept well, and she'd text me if she went shopping with Olivia. In fact, it was a long list of reasons to text me, but whenever we met or she came to our house to help Sophia with something, she would remain calm so Sophia would not suspect anything was off between us. At one point, I had to tell Olivia to stop calling and texting me because it was getting out of hand. I was afraid that it might jeopardize my relationship with Sophia. I was too afraid to mention it to Sophia because I didn't want it to ruin her friendship or wedding preparation. I knew how much she loved and trusted Olivia, and deep down, I believed Olivia was trying to seduce me or get me to change my mind about marrying her best friend. On the night of Sophia's bachelorette party, I understood why. I was in the club section of the hotel where we were all lodging at a day before our wedding. I was drinking with some of my friends when Olivia called me and said there was something she wanted to show me. At first, I didn't want to go because I believed she wanted to seduce me one last time. But when she mentioned Sophia and a familiar name, I took one of my friends and went upstairs. I got to the hotel room they were using for the small party. I saw Olivia outside the door waiting for me. She told me something I could not believe, and when I opened the door, my heart nearly fell into my stomach. Before I opened the door, I heard soft moans from their room and my chest constricted as I touched the door's handle. To my greatest shock, I saw Sophia on top of another man, which I suspected was the male stripper they hired to entertain them. The moment she saw me, she jumped off him and struggled to cover herself with sheets. Almost instantly, I recognized him as Olivia had told me he was her college ex-boyfriend, and I didn't even know when I started crying. It was too much to handle, and I walked out on them without saying a word. My friend who had escorted me upstairs was also mortified. He tried to talk to me, or maybe calm me down, but I shrugged him off and walked out. As I walked down the corridor, I heard Sophia yelling at Olivia, "Why would you do this to me? My life was going perfectly, but you ruined it." Olivia yelled back, "I told you he deserved better. Ethan has been nothing but good to you. I told you to break up with the loser boyfriend of yours and be with Ethan, but you wanted to eat your cake and have it." I didn't bother to look back. I could not believe Sophia had been playing me the whole time. It was too painful to accept, and I wished I could handle the hurt I felt, but I couldn't. Olivia even tried to follow me. I slammed the door in her face. I drank until I could not differentiate between a shadow and an actual person. The following morning, I woke up to a ton of missed calls from Sophia and some other people. When I left the room, Sophia was already wearing her wedding gown. She looked so miserable. The moment she saw me, she ran to me and asked why I wasn't dressed for our wedding, and hearing that made me so furious. Out of anger, I pushed her away and announced I was calling off our wedding. Everyone was shocked, and they kept asking why I changed my mind. Even my parents were shocked to see me in that state because no one expected this to come after all the money I had spent on the preparations, but I was too heartbroken to speak. I stared at Sophia with blood boiling down my spine. I went back into my room and locked myself. From inside the room, I could hear my parents and some of our friends asking Sophia about the reason behind my decision, but she didn't respond. She just pretended to faint, and a couple of people caught her before her body touched the floor. After cleaning up from the previous night, I left the hotel room with a few belongings I had taken there. I switched off my phone after I dropped an apology message on my friend's WhatsApp group chat and switched off my phone. Please don't blame me. I don't know how else to react. It's been a week since then, and I still don't know how to come to a term that I was being played on. Wow, literally the day before the wedding. I'm sorry, OP. What an absolute bloat, your ego and your bank account. It's weird how Olivia knew and didn't want to say anything before all of this even happened. Why wouldn't she tell you? Maybe she wanted you to come to your own conclusions because she secretly wanted you for herself. Maybe had she told you, you wouldn't have believed her, and maybe that would have tainted how you looked and felt about Olivia. Update 1. Hi everyone. Thank you for your comments. It means so much to me. Some of you commented in my original post about why I didn't do the background check with my friend's sister before dating Sophia. So the thing was, I was stupid. I did not feel the need to do it aggressively. However, I remember subtly asking my friend's sister about Sophia during the initial dating phase. She responded that they both were in different departments and Sophia was her friend's friend, and after college they were not in touch. So it didn't help much. Speaking of Sophia, I met her yesterday and she was so mad at me for standing her up at our wedding, and it's kind of funny, right? She ignored what she did and made me the villain in this story. She told her parents I canceled the wedding because I had drunk too much the previous night and I wasn't in my right senses. I think she is mistaking my quietness for foolishness. I didn't want anything to do with her anymore, and I didn't understand why she thought we both could be a thing again. To make this worse, she admitted that she was still having an affair with her ex-boyfriend when we were dating, which broke me more. She did it so because I was always working and I didn't give her the kind of attention she needed. Right now, I am so confused. I never neglected Sophia or turned down any of her needs. She was also why I always worked so hard. I could take care of our bills and still care for her. Even as I type this, the thought of her sleeping with her boyfriend behind my back still hurts me. And right now, she's asking us to fix another wedding date because she cannot bear the embarrassment. To think that she only apologized once about how she had hurt me shows that she never loved or valued me as much as I loved her. It was more of a one-person thing, and I told her I cannot marry her. I just cannot. Meanwhile, I kicked her out of my house and changed my locks. After I met with Sophia yesterday, I also met Olivia to thank her for helping me dodge a bullet. It was through Olivia that I knew Sophia had been getting money from me to take care of her boyfriend. And anytime she asked for a ridiculous amount to buy something, she gave it to him. Also, I never mentioned that Sophia went to the gym every evening while we lived together. She was just obsessed with being fit, and I didn't think something was wrong with that. Well, I just found out that she was meeting with her college boyfriend every day. And most of the time, she said she was with Olivia, but she wasn't. She only asked Olivia to cover up for her, and the reason Olivia was so shocked when Sophia showed her the engagement ring was because a couple of days earlier, she had told Olivia she wanted to settle down with her college boyfriend because she was deeply in love with him. Now I understand why Olivia wouldn't stop texting and calling. She was looking for a way to tell me what was happening, but I didn't give her the opportunity. Sometimes I feel I deserve this because I was so stupid that I got trapped so easily. I have made up my mind, and there won't be another wedding. I will be meeting her again in 2 days to trash her belongings. I will make another update soon. What a delusional fool to think that you'd show up at the altar after discovering her on top of another man. Of course, she made you out to be the villain because she can't stand to look like the villain herself. It would be absolutely embarrassing for her if people discovered she was cheating on you this entire time. But still, shame on Olivia for letting it get that far. Update 2. Hello everyone. Sorry for the delay in updating. I met Sophia again the second time 3 weeks ago, and something unexpected happened. Meanwhile, when I told her we would never be together again, talk more about getting married, she looked me in the eye and said, "Do you think calling off our wedding will help you find a better woman? No woman in her right mind would want to be with an overweight man like you. You should consider yourself lucky to marry a woman like me. In my entire life, I had never been insulted like that, and it hurt so much that it came from someone I once loved or someone who claimed she loved me." At that point, I knew the kind of person she was. Although it's hard to admit, I realized she had been using me the whole time. I know I'm overweight, but I didn't want a marriage where my wife felt like she was doing me a favor. I knew how these kinds of marriages always turn out to be. We didn't talk much that day because she threw my engagement ring on me and walked out in anger. I blocked her on all of our mutual social media platforms and even her number. But before I blocked her parents from calling me, I visited them and told them how much a whore their daughter was, and they were so disappointed when they found out the truth. About a week later, after Sophia walked out on me at the cafe, a strange number began to call me repeatedly. When I picked it up, I immediately recognized Sophia's voice. She sounded different, calmer and more respectful. Without beating around the bush, she asked if we could meet because she had something important to tell me, but I insisted to say it over the phone. But before she said it, she started apologizing. She asked me to forgive and forget everything that happened between us in the past so we could start on a fresh slate. Guess what? Sophia said she wanted to tell me she was pregnant, and I found that really odd. And without waiting for me to say another word, she added, "I'm pregnant with your baby, Ethan." And I busted into a loud laugh. I told her it wasn't April Fool's yet, and she was already pulling pranks. Then I ended the call on her, and like I expected, she didn't stop calling. So I was forced to block the number too. It turned out that her boyfriend had abandoned her after he knew she could no longer take care of him, and when she broke the news of the pregnancy to him. So when it didn't work, she thought she could pull a fast one on me. Since then, she's been trying to call me with strange numbers, and I kept rejecting them. Just 2 days ago, she showed up at my house uninvited. Olivia was there with me. When she saw Olivia, she attacked her with her filthy words, calling Olivia a whore who destroyed her best friend's life. She even accused me and Olivia of having an affair and cheating on her. I had to call the police on her, and yesterday I filed a restraining order for her. I can only imagine how miserable her life would be without a job and someone to help her raise the baby. As for Olivia and I, there's nothing between us, and I don't think we'll ever be a thing. She shows up sometimes to check on me. Right now, I just want to have my life fixed, and hopefully, This broken heart of mine will heal one day. While I still cannot forgive her what she did to me, I guess she got what she deserved. I'm still trying to heal and move on. Any advice would be highly appreciated. Thanks. I'm sorry she said all those things to you, OP. She just wanted to insult you to make herself feel better. She knows she's an ugly person for doing what she did to you for so long, and honestly, in her mind, she probably thought you were going to continue on with the marriage because she figured you were a weak person who she could walk all over. Joke's on her. That day, my mind was completely consumed with the events that had unfolded. The night before our wedding, the person I trusted the most, the person I thought would stand by my side for the rest of my life, betrayed me in a way I never thought possible. As the morning light filtered into the room, I woke up, but I felt like I was in a dream, or perhaps more accurately, a nightmare. I couldn't wrap my head around what had happened. The shock, the disbelief, it was all so overwhelming. I kept replaying the moments in my head, trying to make sense of it, but everything felt like a blur. Just when I thought I couldn't take any more of the confusion, my phone buzzed. I looked down, and there it was. Her name. My heart skipped a beat and my chest tightened. I didn't want to answer it. What could she possibly have to say after everything? But I pressed the button, and there she was, on the other end of the line. "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Can we meet one more time?" she asked, her voice trembling, almost apologetic. I could hear the sincerity in her voice, but it didn't matter. Not anymore. I wasn't sure if it was guilt, regret, or some last-ditch effort to salvage whatever was left, but I couldn't stop the tight knot that formed in my stomach. It wasn't that I still loved her, no, it was something else. The pain of being betrayed by the person I loved most was indescribable. I couldn't even find the words to reply right away. I just stared at the phone, feeling the weight of her message pressing on my chest. After what felt like an eternity, I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I knew I had to respond, but I didn't know what to say. My hands were shaking, but I forced myself to type a simple, short reply. "Where should we meet?" I stared at the words on the screen for a few seconds before hitting send. I wasn't sure if I was ready for this, but I also knew I couldn't leave things hanging. There was too much left unsaid, too much I needed to confront. My heart raced as I waited for her response. That afternoon, we agreed to meet at a small, quiet cafe, the kind of place where the hum of conversation and the clink of coffee cups create a sense of comfort. But in that moment, it felt anything but comforting. When she walked in, I saw her immediately. She looked different. The once confident woman I had known, the one who would light up a room with her presence, was nowhere to be seen. Her eyes, which used to sparkle with excitement, now held only exhaustion and regret. It was as if the weight of what she had done had drained every ounce of life from her. She stood there for a moment, looking at me, her gaze filled with a mix of vulnerability and guilt, and her hands shook slightly as she held the coffee cup. It was a stark contrast to the woman I had once known so well. "I know you're angry, and I understand why," she said, her voice shaky. "I can't justify what I did, but I need you to know how sorry I am." Her words hung in the air, but they didn't seem to reach me in the way she probably intended. I stared at her for what felt like a long time, not knowing what to say or how to feel. The anger I had been holding on to for so long still simmered inside me, refusing to subside. But at the same time, there was something else, a quiet ache that tugged at my chest. Seeing her like this, so broken and regretful, softened me in ways I didn't expect. I was caught in a whirlwind of emotions, not sure whether to confront her with my pain or to give her the chance to explain herself further. I remained silent for a moment, not trusting myself to speak just yet. The silence between us felt heavy, almost suffocating, but I couldn't bring myself to fill it with words. She looked down at her hands, as if gathering the courage to say something more. "Can you forgive me?" she asked quietly, her voice almost a whisper. "I know I've wronged you, but I want to make things right. I want us to start over." The words hung in the air, but they felt impossible to accept. I shook my head slowly, as if to dismiss the very idea she had just proposed. "Do you think we can go back after everything you've done?" I asked, my voice thick with disbelief. "Isn't it too late for that?" There was a sense of finality in my words, but she didn't seem ready to let go just yet. She kept looking at me, waiting for some sort of sign, as if hoping that I would find it in my heart to forgive her and somehow fix what had been broken. But in that moment, all I could feel was the weight of the betrayal, the hurt, and the realization that some things can never be undone. She was quiet for a moment, as if reflecting on my question. Then she sighed and began to explain why she had acted the way she did. You know, I didn't want to say this, but I think I need to be honest. I've loved someone else. I met him before we officially started our relationship, and I couldn't let go of him. But I still loved you, and I didn't want to lose you. Those words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She hadn't just lied to me. She had been in love with someone else the whole time. Did her apology even mean anything anymore? You think I can forgive you after hearing that? I asked, my voice trembling with disbelief and pain. She remained silent for a moment, her eyes downcast. I know. I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I need you to understand how much I regret what I've done. There's one more thing I need to tell you. I felt uneasy. She hesitated and then finally said what I never expected to hear. I'm pregnant. It's your child. Her words hit me like a thunderbolt. I couldn't process it. In that moment, all I could feel was emptiness. My mind spun in circles. You really think I'll go back to you after this? I asked, my voice shaking. I don't know, but I can't do this alone. I need you, she replied, her eyes pleading. After our meeting, I couldn't stop thinking. I decided to meet with an old friend, someone who had always been there for me and witnessed everything in my life. What do you think of all this? I asked, my heart heavy with confusion. He looked at me for a long time before speaking. You know, I've always supported you, but if it were me, I wouldn't go back. You don't deserve to walk into that marriage. You need to think about yourself. His words made me think deeply. I had been too trusting, and now I was paying the price. In the end, I made my decision. I couldn't continue living in lies. I couldn't go through with a marriage with someone who had hurt me so much. I didn't want to enter a marriage where I felt forced. You've done too much already. I can't go back to you. It ends here, I said, though my heart felt like it was breaking. She didn't say anything, just nodded, then got up and left. I watched her go, the loss still fresh in my heart, but I knew it was the right choice. I couldn't continue living in deceit. Have you ever wondered, is true love really enough to forgive mistakes that can never be undone? This question hits at the very heart of a profound dilemma that many of us might face in our lifetime. Love is supposed to be the ultimate force that binds people together, but what happens when that love is betrayed? This story is not just about betrayal. It's a raw and emotional journey that dives deep into the complexities of trust, sacrifice, and how we confront pain when the unthinkable happens. Have you ever wondered, is true love really enough to forgive mistakes that can never be undone? This question hits at the very heart of a profound dilemma that many of us might face in our lifetime. Love is supposed to be the ultimate force that binds people together. But what happens when that love is betrayed? This story is not just about betrayal. It's a raw and emotional journey that dives deep into the complexities of trust, sacrifice, and how we confront pain when the unthinkable happens. Ethan placed all his trust in Sophia, loved her fiercely, and did everything to build a future together. But in the end, he had to confront a brutal truth. Love, no matter how deep or pure, is not always enough to hold a relationship together. There are moments in life when we give our hearts completely, only to realize that love alone can't fill the void of broken promises and lies. In those moments, we often forget that we, too, deserve respect, honesty, and loyalty in return. It's a harsh reality to accept, but it's one that many of us must face. If love is truly meant to be a shared journey, then one person's dishonesty and betrayal can irreparably damage what's been built, no matter how many beautiful memories are tied to that relationship. Ethan and Sophia's story is not an isolated case. It's a story that could happen to anyone. It's a reminder that betrayal can come from the most unexpected places, and sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. The real question we must ask ourselves is, what do we learn from this? Would you forgive someone who betrayed you in the most unimaginable way? Would you continue to love them even after they have shattered your trust and broken your heart? Or would you find the strength to move on, step into your own life, and find the happiness that you truly deserve? This story forces us to reflect on the very nature of love and relationships. It challenges us to think about the boundaries we set for ourselves and the importance of respecting ourselves in any relationship. Can we love deeply without losing ourselves? Can we give everything and still expect something in return? The most important lesson here is the value of self-respect and the ability to heal and rise after being hurt. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes the only way forward is to walk away from what's holding you back. We hope this story has given you some food for thought about the true essence of love, trust, and sacrifice in relationships. Don't let pain and betrayal make you forget the more important things in life: your self-worth and your ability to rise above the hurt. It's crucial to remember that while relationships are important, your happiness, peace of mind, and respect for yourself come first. When you lose that, you lose everything. To continue exploring more stories like this, stories that provoke deep thought and offer valuable life lessons, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today. We've got more content coming all your way that delves into the intricacies of life, love, and personal growth. You won't want to miss any of it. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for the next chapter of life's most compelling stories. We can't wait to see you in our next video, and together let's keep learning, growing, and finding the strength to live our best lives.